All right, I think that we can start. Thank you very much, dear students, for having joined me tonight. It's quite a pleasure for me to be with you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Carlos Oliveira, and I'm going to be your teacher, okay, for the following weeks. Thank you very much for having waited. As you can see, we're always going to have this 5 minutes of tolerance, okay, by the way, just in case you were wondering. I think that it's important, right, to have some tolerance for all of you, considering that sometimes, of course, because of our very much busy lives, it's quite complicated to arrive very much early, right? But just in case, these 5 minutes of tolerance are always going to be available for you, okay? But very good. Let us start in tonight. As I was mentioning, I'm going to be your teacher, okay, for the following weeks here at Executive English, and I am very much pleased and very much honored for that. I want to thank you for having chosen us and also for being here tonight. I would like to start, this class and these courses by saying that I know how it's said to be in your shoes because I've taken this exam twice in my life. We're going to talk about that later, but I know how difficult and how challenging it is to undergo all this process until the day of the exam and all the pressure you may be feeling. I understand it, okay? So I'm here to guide you. I would have liked to have somebody to guide me when I was in that process as well. I didn't have somebody, but in this case you have. All right, and well, just wanted to tell you that I'm here for you to, to help you with any type of question or concern you may have. Please, you may know that it's very important for me to respond and to be there for you in order to help you and to collaborate in your development until we arrive at perfection, okay? Well, so let me start with our presentation tonight, and let me share my screen with you because I have prepared something so that we can have this introductory class. As I told you, this is going to be an introductory class. It's not going to be, let's say, a normal class, or we're not going to be advancing anything with regard to our normal content tonight, but it's merely a class for us to know each other, to permeate you with all the general aspects of the exam, also of these classes. I think it's a very important class for that matter, but as I say, we're not going to start our advance tonight, okay? Well, let us start them. Thank you very much, as I was mentioning you, for having chosen us. I wanted to welcome you to this very, very large and huge family. Well, Executive English is a Bolivian company. I guess you know that, that was born in 2017. And since that time, more than 10,000 students have trusted us. And I think that, as I say, you're joining a very much big family. And also, when you're taking the exam, if you have not taken it yet, you also join a very big family because this exam was first released in 1964. So imagine how many people have taken this exam, right? Hitherto or since that time is imaginable. So, well, you're joining two big families tonight, okay? So thank you very much for having chosen us. As I say, it's a pleasure for me to be with you and to accompany you in this process, okay? Well, let us continue. All right, so let us talk about some policies about these classes, okay? I think it's, well, the company has decided this to be the first thing you know and you are aware of, so please pay attention to this. So about the policies of use with regard to the student classes, it's very important that all the students have their cameras on, okay, at every single point during the classes. And this is a obligatory measure, by the way, that, well, the institution has decided with the objective, with the aim of allowing you to absorb and to remember all the content we are going to have in the classes for a, let's say, more extended period of time, all right? So, of course, for this class, it's fine if you don't have your camera on. You were not told about this, so it's totally fine. Nonetheless, please remember that in the following classes, it's very, very much important that you fulfill with this policy of the company and you have your cameras on during the classes, okay? As I say, they consider that this is going to help you to absorb the content, to learn in a more efficient manner. So please try to keep up with this, all right? And please, what I'm gonna say is not a threat. Please don't take it very much seriously, or as I say, with a negative feeling, because it's not that. It's simply, as I say, part of the policies and things they want me to say, that if you're not gonna have your camera on for some reason, let's say during the classes at some point, maybe your camera, I don't know, messes up, or maybe somebody comes to your home without telling you, that is to say, as a surprise, you're going to turn it off. what is going to happen is that I'm going to take you out of the class just for a while, okay? And then you're going to be able to join us again. Why? Because if you noticed, here in the WhatsApp group, I always send, right, the link to the Zoom meeting. And well, if I take you out, you can rejoin the class whenever you want. And of course, making sure to have your camera on, right? So as I say, it's part of what the company has decided. And here you have the link, just in case at some point I take you out because you don't have your camera on. You are very much encouraged to rejoin us at any point, whenever you want. You're totally free. And as I say, I encourage you to join us again, okay? But please have this on mind, because as you can see, it's very important for them to, for you to know this. So please, as I say, take it very much positively. It's not a threat or something. It's part of what they consider to be the best for you, okay? So fantastic. Thank you very much for having paid attention to that. All right, let's continue. Well, let us talk about the classes now. As you can see, this is our schedule or our agenda, if you prefer to name it. You're going to have classes from Tuesdays to Fridays. As I told you, today is an exception. It's not that we're going to have classes every single Monday. No, it's just for today. And normally our classes are going to be from Tuesdays until Fridays, okay? Now here at Executive English, we have a blended model of education, which means that basically we're going to combine two important aspects of education as we consider them to be. First of all, theory, and secondly, practice. Personally, when I was preparing myself for this exam, one of my mistakes, I think it was that the first time I took it, right? Because the second time I was better prepared, I think. But the first time I took it, one of my mistakes was that I thought that practice was everything. I just practiced and practiced and practiced once and again for all the sections in the exam, without really understanding the concepts underlying those practices and those exercises. And I think that was the reason why I didn't perform as well as the second time, because in the second time, I gave myself some time in order to understand the theory, the concepts underlying the exam, and trust me, that helped me a lot. So I think that that is great about this program they have, that you're going to have that combination, theoretical and practical classes, all right? As you can see, theoretical classes are going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to divide, let's say, the days in order to cover both theoretical and practical material. And the theoretical material is going to be taught on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and the practice, that is to say, the application of everything we learn theoretically, is going to be had on Wednesdays and Fridays, okay? Wednesdays and Fridays. But please don't take this as a, well, let's say, unchangeable schedule, because we can vary it. Of course, at some point, maybe you are more prone or more disposed to practice at some or in some particular exercise, because you consider that the theory is actually very easy to understand and you're able to get it in just one class. Well, fantastic. Why not? Should we give permission in order to practice more? And that way we're just going to practice, or we're just going to learn these theoretical aspects for one class, and then we're going to dedicate the rest of the week in order to practice. Could happen if you want, or if I see that at some point, for example, you're struggling with some theoretical aspects, I want to tell you, okay, guys, better if we dedicate one more class in order for you to polish these details in the theory before we move on to practice, right? As I say, it's not something completely unchangeable, but it's totally flexible, okay? But as I say, normally or commonly, we're going to have this development in our classes, okay? Tuesdays and Thursdays dedicated to theory, and practice Wednesdays and Fridays, all right? Very good. There you have it. Let's continue. I'm going to have time for you to make some questions. Don't worry. Just give me a second. I want to move on a little bit more, okay? Well, now let us discuss some general aspects of the TOEFL exam, not about the classes that we're having, but the TOEFL exam. That, of course, is the reason why you're here, right? The TOEFL exam. So let us talk about some general aspects, the very basics, very much the basics you need to know, right, about this exam before we get into more specific and deeper content. Well, the TOEFL exam, maybe if you were wondering why that name, right, that doesn't sound to be very much English as such. It is basically, well, it is basically a word that stands for the following: test of English as a foreign language, all right? That is the meaning of the word TOEFL. Maybe somebody asks you someday, hey, why is it called TOEFL? Well, you respond test of English as a foreign language, right? Now, as I told you, the TOEFL exam is a very, very much old exam. It's not recent, or it's not modern, let's say. It's very old. It's 1964, the first year when this exam was released. So imagine, think about it. Now, because it's so old, it's not only the most prestigious exam in the entire world for certifying and measuring your level of English, but it has also developed a lot of modalities and versions, which I think it's fantastic, considering that test takers are very much varied as well. People have preferences about how to take the exam, about what is the best manner to take it, if, for example, using a computer or, for example, using sheets of paper. And that is the reason why, as I say, the TOEFL exam has different versions. And something very important for you to know is that when you are registering yourself for the exam, when you're enrolling yourself to the exam, when you're about to pay your fee for taking the exam, you are able to choose what modality or version of the exam you want to take, and you will indeed take. As I say, this is totally optional, but there are some versions that are available for you to take. And you need to be aware of all these versions or modalities and to know the differences among them, because I think that, as I mentioned, depending on your own personality, your own strengths, and your own perceptions as well, it's going to be better for you to take one version or the other one, depending, of course, as I say, on the availability of these versions in your country. Because, well, although we're going to talk about right now, we're going to talk about these modalities or versions of the exam, not all of them are available in all the countries. In Bolivia, there are some versions that are available. In, for example, the US, there are other versions that are available. Or in Africa, for example, versions there can be more limited, or as I say, it's an example, right? But the point is that depending on the availability in your country, you can choose among the different versions or modalities of the exam I'm going to share with you, all right? And by the way, how can you know where or if it is available in your country? Well, by getting into the website of this exam that we're going to discuss later, don't worry. But let us discuss the modalities of this exam first. As I mentioned, we have some modalities we need to review and know. First of all, we have the IBT version. That is probably the one you're going to take, I think, because it's the most common one. And well, the letters in the word stand for internet-based test, as you can see. That is what the word IBT means, and what the first modality of the exam is IBT TOEFL. That is to say, internet-based test TOEFL. Now, very important as well, this is the one that consists basically, right, making a very much general summary, in you registering yourself into the TOEFL official's website, choosing a due date for you to take the exam, because of course everything depends on the availability. As I said, when you get into the website that I'm going to share with you, you create an account, of course, first of all, then you log in, and when you enter, you discover that it is, well, it's a website that allows you to decide or to purchase, let's say, a ticket for the exam, right, to be part of the exam. And when you get into that menu, you discover that there are some options. Of course, the first one, when to take the exam, right? So when you see all those options and all the possibilities they give you, you're going to see that, for example, let's say when you take this exam next month, right? Imagine that some of you are going to take this exam in November. So if you log in November, you're going to discover that ETS, or the exam, ETS is, I want to recommend this right now because I think it's very important. ETS is the company that makes the exam, okay? The company that organizes, administers, delivers the exam around the world is called ETS. So whenever I mention ETS does this, or ETS this, or ETS that, what I mean is basically the exam, right? The people who are in charge of the exam. So what happens is that ETS gives some available dates, or as I say, days for you to take the exam in their website. So when you log in and when you want to register yourself for the exam, the first thing is the date. And you're going to notice that depending on the month you want to take it, there are going to be different options. For example, in November, it could be possible, or it may be possible that you're going to find 3 available dates. For example, November 22, or November 23rd, or I don't know, November 7th, whatever. The point is that, as I mentioned, you're going to find different dates. And those dates, of course, vary and change depending on the month you want to take it. If you go to December, probably you're just gonna get one date. I don't know, December 10th, for example. But as I say, everything depends on the availability you have in the website. And how can you check it? Well, by logging in and checking it by yourself, right? So as I say, the first thing you choose is a date, right? So for the IVT version, you choose a date, right? Well, great. Let's say you want to take it on November 22nd. Fantastic. Afterwards, when you are in the IVT version, when you want to take this version, dear students, the IVT version, what you do, secondly, is to choose a test center. And this is, let's say, the most important characteristic of this particular version. That in the IVT version, you have to go to a building, to an institution, to a university, to a high school, basically any available place, and of course, certified place that is available in ETS website in order to take the exam. You're gonna go out of your home in order to take the exam. And as I say, you need to go in person to this test center. That can be any place. As I say, the point is that it is a place that is administered by ETS, that is certified by ETS, and all those places you're going to have them available, as I say, when you register. It's as easy as that, as getting into and checking out. They are going to give you everything, or all the possible locations for you to take the exam. There are many, depending on your country again. For example, if you live in Bolivia, depending on your city as well, you're going to find a lot of test centers. And the point is that when you have the ability to choose among those test centers, of course, you choose the one that is more convenient for you, or you consider to be more suitable. Well, for example, let's say that there is a test center that's, well, very likely it's super nearby your house, your house. So, well, you choose that one and you go, as I say, on the due date in order to take the exam in person. But as I say, this is, let's say, the most important part of this version, that you need to take it in person. And in order to take it in person, you are going to have to choose a test center. And these test centers are basically, as I say, available in the website. All right, fantastic. That is the IVT version. So when the due date comes, you go to this test center in person and you take the exam in there. And the second very important characteristic of this version, dear students, is that you have to take the exam using a computer, okay? Using a computer. That is to say, you're going to take it using a keyboard, using a mouse, using, of course, the screen, using a PC, everything. And don't worry about all those equipments and all those hardwares, because everything you need in order to take the exam is going to be provided by you, is going to be provided to you by the test center you go to. If you are, of course, taking the IVT version, right? Everything we're discussing right now about the exam is for the IVT version. So if you take the IVT version, as I say, you are going to take this exam through a computer. But everything you need, or basically the entire computer, is going to be provided to you by ETS or by the test center you go to in order to take the exam, all right? So you don't have to worry about bringing with you a PC or bringing with you a screen or a keyboard. No, everything is going to be delivered to you by the test center. And actually, what I like about this modality, by the way, is the one that I have always taken, is that when you go there, you also have technical support. Imagine that on the day of the exam, something goes wrong with your computer. Don't worry, because in the test center, ETS is going to have a lot of people, let's say staff members from ETS, waiting for you in order to help if there's any problem or issue with the computer, if the computer turns off, or if there's any trouble with the internet. They are there, or they are located in that particular position in order to help you with all those details. Or and of course, they can give you extra time if something goes wrong. Basically, as I say, technical support is guaranteed if you go to this test center and you take the IVT version, okay? You don't have to worry about that. Now, those are the most important aspects of this version. The IVT version, as I say, is the most common one. I would say 90 or 80% of test takers, well, I would say 80% of test takers take this version, and it's probably the one you're gonna take. Well, as I say, if you like it, if you like the idea of going out your home in order to take the exam, if you like the idea of taking this exam, well, in this test center and being held by these staff members from ETS, fantastic. Now, of course, it also has its negative aspects, of course, right? The idea is that when you take this exam, or the IVT version exam, right, it happens that, well, of course, you're going to take it with more people, right? Because You are not going to have, let's say, a room just for yourself or something. Where you take the exam in the test center is a computation room, basically. And in that computation room, a lot of people can be located. That is to say, you are probably going to take the exam with 10, 12, excuse me, 13, 14, 15 people apart from you. And of course, that could be something difficult, especially when coming to the speaking section, right? Because as you know, in this exam, there is a part, we're going to talk about that anyways, don't worry, in which you have to speak, and you have to speak aloud. That is to say, you have to speak with your own mouth. And what happens is that, of course, at that time, people, if you're going to take the IBT version, speak at the same time. They don't wait for you. Okay, it's your turn to speak, right? And everybody is silent until you speak, and then continues and continues. No, everybody speaks at the same time. And of course, that could deconcentrate you if you're not very much able to concentrate and to be completely focused on yourself. Now, there are some techniques that I'm going to share with you in order to avoid those complications and in order to, let's say, appease that difficulty. But anyways, all these things are necessary for you to consider, right? When taking this exam, you have to take it with more people. You're not going to be alone. And of course, maybe you are not somebody who likes to go out of your comfort zone. Consider all these things because you have to go to this test center. You're not allowed, by the way, to get into with any food or any water or any other equipment. It's just you. Basically, when you get into the computation room, it's just you. You are the only person or object that is allowed to get into the computation room. And apart from that, well, it's your knowledge and it's what you can do with the computer, right? Well, that is the IBT version, okay? And I extended myself a lot because the other version that I'm going to discuss right now is basically the same, but with a very interesting difference. The second version is the home IBT version. Notice that this is the IBT version, right? Internet-based test. Now, this is the home IBT version. It's a second version or modality of the exam. Now, with regard, for example, of how to register for this version, how if you're going to take it through a computer, yes, you're also going to take the exam using a computer if you take the home IBT version. But the most important difference, and I think the most evident difference with comparison or in comparison to the IBT version is that if you're going to take the home IBT version, you're going to take it at home. That is to say, you're not going to go out of your home in order to take the exam, but everything you're going to take it at home. You're going to use, of course, your own computer. In this case, they are not going to provide you with a computer, of course. You need to offer your own computer. By the way, you have to meet some requirements. You need to have one particular type of computer with a particular type of software, etc., etc. But all that is, as I say, detail and is very much explained in ETS website that I'm going to share with you. Don't worry. But basically, as I said, when you get into this modality, you're going to have exactly the same procedure as in the IBT version, but the only difference is that you don't go out of your home. And well, maybe of course this has its advantages, right? You want to take it at home, fantastic. You're going to have your own computer. Probably you're going to have your own room, right, in order to take the exam if you're taking it at home, obviously. And of course, it's your comfort zone, right? So if you are somebody who doesn't like to go out of your comfort zone, well, probably this is your version, right? But now, of course, it also had some disadvantages, let's say, or negative aspects. Because when you take this particular version, dear students, it happens that you don't have technical support. If something goes wrong with your computer on that day, on the day you take the exam, or if something goes wrong with your internet, for example, there is some sort of internet issue in your sum just on that day, well, they're going to say that it's your problem. They are not going to help you because how could they, right? You're taking it at home with your own computer. They cannot help you. So as I say, this also has its negative aspects because if you have some trouble, of course, they're not going to refund the money, right? So what they can do maybe is to reschedule it, but to refund the money, it's very much unlikely. So as I say, it has its negative aspects, and it also had some negative aspects, you know, when coming to the to something very important that we're going to discuss throughout the entire exam, that is taking notes. Because taking notes, let me tell you in advance, is a very important skill you have to perfect during these classes, because during the entire exam, it's very much necessary and important to take efficient notes. That is to say, you're going to be exposed to a lot of content, and taking notes, right? It's going to be super important and necessary because we are humans and it's impossible to remember everything. Now, if you take the IBT version, that is to say this one, the first one we discussed, you take notes as you would normally do it on paper. They give you a lot of paper and you write down your notes on paper. Now, on the home IBT version, you are not able to take your notes on paper. They require you to purchase or to get, as you can, a whiteboard. You know what is a whiteboard? It's basically this type of boards that professors nowadays utilize, right, in universities or high schools with a erasable marker in order to take your notes there. And it must be a desktop whiteboard, a very, very small whiteboard. And basically, you need to take your notes like this, right? Like writing down on your on your whiteboard with a erasable marker, and with the unavoidable consequence of course, having to erase in order to rewrite something when your space is over, right? So as I say, it has its negative aspects, and well, all these things you have to consider them. Okay, when taking the exam, it's a matter of considering which is the one that let's say suits you the most, or which is the one that adapts to yourself, to your own personality, to your own likes, or which is the category or the modality in this version that you consider could be more beneficial for you. All right, those are the versions of the exam. And now there's a third one, but this one is well, very much unlikely you're going to take it, because it's a version that was let's say more designed for Africa. The PBT version is, let's say, the same we have discussed as the IBT version. You need to take you need to choose a test center. You need to let's say register yourself through the website. You are going to go to a test center, as I say. You're going to take the exam. Well, everything with regard to the content or to the qualification system, it's the same. Now, the only difference with the PBT version, as you can see, paper-based test, is that, of course, you're not going to take the exam using a computer, but on paper. Your reading passages are going to come to you on paper. You're not going to write down on your keyboard, but with your own hands, right, on paper. You're not going to listen to any material or I don't know, lectures or conversations. Very important part, by the way, of the listening section, through headphones, right? No, you have other type of devices that are not connected to internet, to a computer. As I say, it's a completely different experience, because you don't use a computer or any type of electronic device. And I doubt this version is available in South America, but if it is available in your country or city and you want to take it, of course, why not, right? As I say, it's basically the same as the IBT version. You also go to a test center, but the only difference, and very important one actually, is that you don't take it with a computer, but using paper. Well, I guess that because we are living in the 21st century, it's very difficult for you to take this exam. As I say, it's something that was dedicated or developed thinking about countries in which internet access is not possible, right? As Africa and many countries in Africa. But in here, well, I think that we are very much lucky that we do have internet. So, well, but if you want to take it, of course, go for it, right? I mean, if you like paper and want to take it on paper, fantastic. But those are the versions of the TOEFL IBT or the TOEFL exam. The IBT version, as we have discussed, the most common one, choosing a test center, going there using a computer. PBT version, going to a test center, but not using a computer, but taking the exam on paper. And finally, we have the home IBT version, the same as the IBT version, but with the only and very much important difference that you don't go out, but you take it at home, right? Using your own computer, your own equipment, etc., etc. Well, so before we move on, I wanted to share the link to this website that I was mentioning. I'm going to make a very, very much short demonstration right now, actually. So basically, this is the website. I'm going to send it to you, to the WhatsApp group right now. Okay, it's this one. Here you have it. All right. And now I'm going to log in with my own account in order to show you. Okay. Give me a second. Okay, where am I? Here, trouble. All right. Well, here I am. So this is my profile. It's already there. I need to write it down. Okay, of course, if you don't have an account, you have to create it, right? It says create account here. So you create it and then you can log in, right? This is the interface basically. As you can see, it's super easy to register. It says here register and find test centers and dates, right? So basically, you click here, and well, here you select the version you want, right? As you can see, IBT version or home edition, right? The home IBT version, or in this case, well, this is a version that Well, as you can see, well, this is essentials. It's basically information. This is not what you want. These are the exams. As you can see, in my country, it's not available here. I'm from Bolivia. I guess you're from Bolivia as well. We're gonna discover it, but the PBT version is not available. And all this information is already here for me because when I created my account, I of course stated where I was living, right? So when you create your exam, you have to of course choose the country where you are living in at that current time, because that is the place they are going to identify with yourself and with your range of possibilities to take the exam, right? Because as I say, everything depends on the country you're living in. So please choose the country where you're living in, okay? If you're from Bolivia, but for example, you're living in Colombia, choose Colombia, of course, when you're creating your account, okay? Great, that's it. So for example, if I want to take the IUT version, right? As you can see here, it says find test centers. And here I put my city, right? Santa Cruz, for example. Santa Cruz, Bolivia. As you can see, there is another Santa Cruz in California. I knew that. And here you place, or basically you choose the date, right? October, November, in this case, let's say I want to take it in November, December. And well, basically here, if I press continue, the website is going to show me all those available dates and test centers that are, as I mentioned, available or disposed in my city, right? Well, as you can see, we have November 12th, and the only place where I can take it is Centro Boliviano Americano. Or for example, in December 3rd, I can also take it in Centro Boliviano Americano. And here, for example, I can take it in other places. You can see it says Digital Language Services, right? That is not the CBA or the Centro Boliviano Americano, right? Well, fantastic. So this is it. As you can see, this is how you register. Here's the fee, as you know, $190. And well, you choose the one you prefer, and then of course it's about to pay, no more than that. Fantastic. You can do this by yourself, and if you have any trouble at some point, you can always tell me, all right? You can always send me a message. Well, great. Let's continue with our presentation. I think it's time for questions, right? Yeah, is there any question now, dear students, until this point? Anything you may have about what we have discussed until this point, maybe about the modalities or any other commentary, please tell me. I'm going to be very much delighted to help you with any question. Questions? Roy, Mariana, Araceli, Cecilia, Abigail, questions about what we have seen until this point? No questions? No? Okay, fantastic. No questions then. Great. So that's it. Well, as you can see, that is everything we needed to discuss, excuse me, about the exam to that point. Well, now let us move on. And why should you take the exam? Okay. Well, as I told you, this is the most prestigious exam in the entire world for measuring and certifying your level of English. And there are normally three main reasons why people take this exam, and I want to share them with you. Maybe you can categorize yourself with one of these options. Nonetheless, of course, I have found a lot of students, several people who are actually not identifying with these main reasons. But anyways, if you want to take the exam for any other reason, it's totally fine. Of course, this is a free exam in the sense that everybody can take it. And well, it's totally up to you, right? If you want to take it. But the main reasons why people take it are the following. The first one is to be accepted in a university abroad. This is the most common one, I would say. Of course, if you want to, for example, make your, I don't know, master degree, or if you want to apply for an undergraduate program in the US, for example, or in any other English-speaking country, like, I don't know, Great Britain or Ireland, or I don't know, Scotland, any other country like that, right? What, as I say, is the idea is that you have to demonstrate proficiency, capacity of speaking, writing, reading, and listening in English, right? Because they want to make sure they have the students who are able to undergo their programs very much easily and with a good performance. So when you're applying to a university, you're going to discover all of them always ask you to demonstrate your proficiency in English. And if you want to do it, and trust me, this is, I would say, the most recommended way to do it is by taking a TOEFL exam. Why the most recommended way to do it? Because the TOEFL exam, in comparison to other exams, and I tell you this by experience, is very much predictable. And the idea is that when you have something that is predictable and that is repetitive, as the TOEFL exam is, you can actually get very much good at it, right? Because you can systematically understand it. I repeat, you can systematically understand it. And I think this exam, as you're going to be able to see, is very much easy, or is very much approachable and manageable because of that reason. In the following weeks, I'm going to show you that this exam follows a lot of patterns. And when you identify and understand these patterns, it's quite easy for you to perform very much consistently in the exam. And that is to say, if you get, for example, 90 as a score in our practices, on the exam you can get 90 or something above, but not something less than that, because there is consistency in your responses, because you understand the patterns in the exam. And this is not something possible in any other exam, because the other exams are always, let's say, very much flexible, or they're very much, well, diverse in the sense that their way of working always varies. Their patterns are very much repetitive. They're very much, let's say, well, prone to change. Well, it's, as I say, it's a matter of understanding how beneficial and how advantageous it can be for you to have something that is predictable. And the TOEFL exam is very much predictable, trust me. So taking the exam in order to do this is fantastic. Demonstrating your level of English and performing at it, as I say, always consistently. Now, second reason why this is a very good example, or a very good exam, I'm sorry, is because there's no country in the entire world where this exam is not recognized. This exam is recognized in more than 174 nations. So it's never going to happen, for example, with you, that the university you want to apply to, doesn't matter where it is placed or in what country it's located, is always going to accept this exam as a valid demonstration of your English level. Because, as I say, it's the most prestigious and known, and is the oldest of all these exams and examinations that exist right now. So you're never going to have that problem. Oh, if I send it to this university, are they going to accept it? You don't have to ask that, because of course they are going to accept it. As I say, well, that is the first reason why you take it. Now, second one, scholarships. And this is also very much a normal and let's say consistent reason why people take it. If you are thinking about studying in Europe, for example, or in the US, you know that tuitions are super expensive. So of course you would like to receive some sort of financial help. Great. The scholarships are in order to fulfill that part, right? Now, of course, the scholarships are a very much complicated matter, because when you are trying to study in the US, especially, or in any other European country, especially in Great Britain, you are going to compete against the most talented and intelligent students of the world in order to get this scholarship, especially the ones that are full, right? Full scholarships. So in order to stand out from that very much huge and large pool of applicants, you need to demonstrate that your English is better than the others, right? And in order to do so, you need to have a high score in the TOEFL exam. Finally, getting a job. Maybe many of you are thinking about working remotely for a European country, or for, I don't know, an American company. Fantastic. They are going to ask you to demonstrate you're able to speak in English, to write in English, to do assignments in English, I don't know, to prepare to prepare presentations in English, to discuss with your work team. A lot of activities are necessary and indispensably required to speak, or require you to speak and to communicate in English very much proficiently. Therefore, excuse me, it happens that they need to have some sort of demonstration you're able to developing all these tasks very much easily and with proficiency. Well, TOEFL exam. Other people like to take it because of personal realization. That is another reason I've always seen. They want to demonstrate they're able to, because they have been learning English for a lot of years, right? So because they have been learning English for several years, they want to demonstrate to themselves that they are able to perform this exam very much successfully and with good results. Fantastic. Why not to take the exam because of that, right? Personal realization is something wonderful. So as I say, there are a lot of reasons why you can take this exam, but these are the most common ones, excuse me. Well, that's it. Now it's time for us to move on to some introductions. Let's get to know each other. I think this is very important because in the following weeks, we're going to be constructing and building a family here among us. And I think it's very important for us to know each other, right? So let us start with an introduction round. And well, let me start because, well, normally the professor always starts, right? So I think that's, I'm just going to start anyways. I'm going to let you know a little bit about me. Well, great. Here I have, I prepared this. You don't have to, of course, show anything, right? You don't have to show your screen or anything, but in just, in this case, I just, of course, decided to prepare something because I had time, right? Well, this is me. My name is Carlos, okay, Oliveira, as I told you. I'm from Bolivia. Right now, I'm a student of systems engineering and also law, very much nearby to graduate, actually. And as I said, well, I've taken this exam twice in my life. The first one was in 2020, and that time I got 100, okay, in the exam. Now, maybe you're wondering, what is this of 100? Well, the TOEFL exam has this punctuation system that I didn't mention. The TOEFL exam, let me come back there before I continue then with my presentation here, has this presentation, let's say. Here you have it. These are the four tasks in the exam. You have the reading section, you have the listening section, you have the speaking section, and the writing section. Basically, everything we have learned during our entire lives when we were the students of this language, right? Reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So these are the sections you have to undergo through the exam. All of these sections have their own independent score. The maximum you can get in the reading section is 30. The maximum you can get in the listening section is 30. In the speaking section, 30, and in the writing section, 30. When you sum up everything, and when you have, let's say, an overall score, the maximum score you can get in the TOEFL exam is 120, okay? And the minimum, of course, of a score, it's obviously 0, right? So let's say the spectrum or the range of scores, the possible range of scores is from 0 to 120, okay? 120 means that you have a perfect English, let's say, and 0 that you don't have any idea of what English is, right? Now, maybe you are wondering, how difficult is it to get 120? Because of course, we are always aiming to the greatest and the highest score, right? The other week I was reading an article by Prep Scholar. I don't know if you have heard about that magazine or that website. It's a very popular one if you are applying to American universities, Prep Scholar. You have probably heard about it. And they published an article the other day. I can send it to the WhatsApp group if you want. And they said they made some investigations because they received some data from ETS apparently. And they concluded that normally, well, not normally, but according to their information and data, just 5% of test takers managed to get more than 105 in the exam. I repeat, just 5% of test takers managed to get more than 105 in the exam. Okay, so it's very difficult to get 120, certainly. You will have to be, let's say, in this very much reduced group of people that represent less than 5% of people who take the exam in order to get 120. Now, of course, it is not necessary to get 120 in order to approve the exam. And I want to correct that because there is a very much common confusion. There is no way to approve this exam, or there's no way to fail in this exam because, I mean, there's no a limitation, or there's no a limit or a boundary when somebody says, oh, you failed in the exam or you approved the exam. No, it doesn't happen or it doesn't work that way. The manner it ways, excuse me, the manner it works, I'm sorry, is that when you take the exam, you are going to take it, and the score you receive is going to be like a picture of your current level of English. And that picture, let's say you get a 90, is going to be sent and delivered to the institution or to the university you want to send it. And they, according to their own criteria and what they are looking for, are going to evaluate if the score you present is good or bad for them. As I say, everything is a matter of subjective perception. Some institutions, for example, let's say an American university, I don't know, Wheaton College, any university, whatever comes to my mind, believes that for a good applicant to their university and institution, they need to have at least 70. So when they receive a 70, they say, okay, well, it's fine. But when they receive a 90, they say, oh, what a good student we are receiving, right? So of course they think about it. But let's say you are trying to apply to Harvard, right? Or to Yale or Princeton, any of those universities, right? That are the top universities of the world, or Cambridge or Oxford, whatever. I know that, for example, Harvard requires you to get at least 110 in the exam in order to be considered, realistically considered for admission in that university, Harvard, okay? I'm talking about Harvard. Yale, the same, 105, I think it was. So as I say, you have to check it out depending on the university you want to apply to, or depending to the position you are applying to in the company you are looking for working in. You just have to consult with them. What a score would you be content with? Are you content with 90, 100? And of course, knowing what they are content with, you can say, okay, if I get this, they're going to be content, happy. But if I get this higher than that, okay, they're going to say, oh, this is, let's say, one of our best candidates, right? So you have to know that. You have to think about that. And as I say, everything has to do with your own investigation and research you can make on these institutions you are trying to apply to, okay? Well, in my case, when I took the exam, the first time I got 100. And the second time I took it, I got 110, all right? So of course, these are high scores. Yes, they are. And why am I showing this to you? The reason I show you this is because I want to somehow motivate you. Why? Because when I was, when the first time I became aware of this exam and I decided I wanted to take it because I was applying to American universities, I took a simulation, I remember. And the first time I took it, I got 70 in that simulation. So of course I had very high expectations. So when I got that score, I was completely overwhelmed and distracted, let's say. So I started to practice and practice and practice a lot. And I took this matter very much seriously because I knew that my future was depending on it, right? So the first time I took it, I got 100. And the second time I got 110. So I tell you this because it's possible to improve exponentially in a matter of months, weeks, if you're able to. And as I tell you, when I was studying and preparing myself, I didn't have somebody in order to guide me. Now you have it, okay? You can trust me and I can guide you through this process because I know it very well. So, well, that is a little bit about me. The rest is just, as you can see, well, some of my, well, awards, etc. But the point is that personally, I am somebody who likes to read very much. I'm very much a serious reader of law, philosophy, technology as well. That's the reason why I'm studying those careers. But yeah, that is basically about me. Okay. So now, please let me know about you. Okay. I want to know about you, and please help me with these questions. I'm very much interested in these questions. Your name, your city, why are you taking the exam, and do you need a specific score in the test? Okay, try to respond to these questions, please. Do you have some volunteer in order to start with this self-introduction round, or should I pick up somebody? Volunteers in order to start with this?
I can start.
Okay, Araceli, please.
So hi everyone, my name is Araceli Patiño. I'm in Cochabamba, Bolivia. I'm trying to take this test because I know that I know English, but there is not like a certificate or something that I can show to the company that I'm working on. So it's like a good reference to have. And my score in my dreams will be like 100.
Yes.
But 90, I think it will be a good score too.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much, Araceli. Fantastic. No, don't say in your dreams. It's totally attainable. Trust me. But yeah, great. It's very good then to know that you're taking this exam because you want to demonstrate your proficiency, right, to your company. Something very important every single time, right? So great. And very good to know you're from Bolivia as well. And we're going to be working towards that objective, okay? But thank you very much, Araceli, for sharing that with us.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, who would like to continue? Roy, please, could you continue? Roy, Frank. Oh, Mariana, I think it's volunteering.
Sure.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
Oh, Okay, Mariana, please give me a second, right? Okay, thank you. Mariana, please go on.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Mariana Vaca. I am in Santa Cruz. Well, I need to prepare for TOEFL test because I need to apply the next year for a university. Maybe the score I will take 100. I don't know.
Yes. Right. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mariana. Great. Well, great to know you're from Santa Cruz as well. Yeah, I mean, 100 is, as I say, it's an attainable score. It's difficult, certainly, but nonetheless, we are going to be working, as I say, towards that. So thank you very much, Mariana, for sharing that. And great that you are applying to universities. I also applied last year, I think, to university. So if you need some help with the application process, you can always get in touch with me, okay? I can help you with something if I'm able, okay? But thank you very much, Mariana. Fantastic. All right, let's continue with Roy. Please, dear Roy, now it's your turn.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Roy Frank. I'm from La Paz, Bolivia. I'm taking this test because I need at least 20 in every field. It's a requisite for a university I want to apply the next year. So I decided to take this course to improve myself, my knowledge in English. So that is the score I need, the specific score I need, at least 20 in each field.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much, Roy. Yeah, you are certainly right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. That is a very good that is a very good reference, actually, when you say, right, I want at least 20 each section, because what Roy says is very much true, actually. Some universities, what they are looking for is stability in all the sections, right? Because it happens that sometimes people have, let's say, 25 and 25, or excuse me, 30 and 30 in two of these sections, but then they have like, I don't know, 15 in order. And what some universities are looking for, it's, as I say, stability. And what Roy is looking for is stability. It's fantastic, right? So thank you very much, Roy, for sharing that with me and with the rest of your classmates. Fantastic to have you. And we're going to be working, okay, towards that. Thank you very much. Well, let's continue with Cecilia. Please, could you, dear Cecilia, continue with the introductions?
Hi, well, my name is Cecilia. I'm from Tarija. And well, I need to take this course because I wanted to apply for a university the next year, and I need this test. The score I need is 95 or 100. So that's it.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Cecilia. Fantastic. Then to have somebody from Tarija as well. Yeah, certainly. I mean, as I say, applying to universities is commonly the reason why people take this exam. And great if you are planning to apply to universities. You didn't say what country, but anyways, we're going to be working towards that. Okay, 95 is certainly a good score, and it's attainable. Okay, so thank you very much, Cecilia, for sharing that with us. A pleasure to have you here as well. Okay, great. And finally, we have our dear Abigail. Please, could you, Abigail, finalize with these introductions?
Okay. Hi, my name is Abigail Colque. I am from La Paz. And I would like to apply for a scholarship for a master's degree. And that's why I am taking this course. And I think I need a score of 100. I think I'm not really sure, but I am happy to be here for taking this course.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abigail. Fantastic. Yes, I'm also very much happy, very much content for being with you as well. And great. A master's degree, fantastic. Yes, it's a very much difficult environment, right? When you're applying to scholarships for master's degrees, because a lot of incredible people are also applying, right, always to these programs. But great, trust me that we're going to be working in order to get that 100 you're looking for, okay? And you're going to be able to compete against those applicants, all right? So thank you very much, Abigail, for sharing that with us. A pleasure to have you. Well, great. I think that everybody has stated some facts and some information about themselves. So thank you very much for sharing that. As I said, we are going to be constructing and building a family here. So it's great to know. And as I perceive, all of us are from Bolivia. So great. In other groups, I have a lot of people who are not from Bolivia. I have students who are from Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, especially Peru, El Salvador, Haiti, a lot of people from Central America as well. But this is apparently a Bolivian group, but great, right? Always fantastic to be with brothers and sisters from our country, right? Great. Well, let us finalize then with this presentation with the following. As I explained to you, these are all the sections in the exam, okay? The reading, the listening, and the speaking, and the writing. And now, let us discuss very quickly how much time you're going to have for each section. Because, by the way, the TOEFL exam is a very, very long exam, okay? In the reading section, when you take this part of the exam, because everything is, as I say, interconnected and immediate. That is to say, when you start with the exam in the reading section, after you finalize with the reading section, you start with the listening, okay? When you finalize with the listening, as you can see, you have a break of 10 minutes. But apart from that, you don't have any other time to breathe because it's everything on the exam. When you come back from those 10 minutes of break, you're going to start with the speaking section and you're going to finalize with the writing section. As I say, everything is immediate and continue. Now, how much time you have for each section? The reading section is going to last for approximately 60 minutes to 80 minutes. It's more than 1 hour. When you finalize that, as I say, immediately you're going to moving on towards the listening part. The listening section is going to last for 60 to 90 minutes. It's also a very, very long part, okay? So when you finalize this, there is approximately 2 hours or something like that. You're going to move towards the 10 minutes of break. When you finalize your 10 minutes break, you come back and you start with the speaking section. When I say you come back, is well, you come back to the computer, right? Or to the paper you are taking the exam, because of course in the 10 minutes break, you can go to the bathroom, you can go and eat something, drink something, but that is the only part of the exam where you can actually relax for a while. But the rest is pure performance and pure concentration. Then you have the speaking section, and as you can see, it's the shortest part. It's just 20 minutes, but it's allegedly the most difficult part of the exam, right? We're going to discuss that later. And finally, you have the writing section. And in this case, well, in order to finalize the exam, you're going to have to perform this task, and you will have 50 minutes in order to finalize with the writing section. Once you finish the writing section, by the way, this order is always respected. You're always going to start with the reading, the listening, the speaking, and the writing. Doesn't matter where you live. Reading, listening, speaking, writing is always that way. When you finalize with the writing section, that's all. Okay, you finalize with exam. So if you make your calculations here, if you sum everything up, you have an exam of more or less 3 hours and a half. So first recommendation to all of you, start preparing for this. Okay, dear students, this is a very, very much mentally demanding exam because you're going to be there for 3 hours and a half without any type of stop or rest, okay, apart from those 10 minutes. So in Bolivia, we are not used to take these exams, right? I mean, of 3 hours duration. We are used to take 1 hour's exams, no more than that. But 3 hours is going to be demanding. So please start mentalizing yourself, preparing yourself mentally, physically for performing on this, apart from all the content we're going to discuss in the following weeks, okay? Very good. Now, let us discuss our calendar. Let me open it here. So in Executive English, these courses, you're going to have preparation for all the sections in the exam. And as you were told when you registered yourself for these classes, we're going to have 6 weeks, right? 6 weeks of preparation for this exam. Each week, we're going to have a specific topic, and that is going to be our point of focus and concentration during the entire week. The first week, that is to say this week, let's say the initiating week, the one we are right now, the one we are in right now, is the reading. That is to say, during the entire week, we're going to be discussing theoretical and practical aspects of the reading section, right? When we finalize the first week, we're going to move on to the listening part. In the second week, we're just going to discuss the listening section. We're going to know the theoretical aspects, we're going to practice for it, etc. When we come to the third week, we're going to discuss the speaking section, but we're just going to discuss one part of the speaking section because as we are going to be discussing on that time, the speaking section is divided into 4 different tasks. So in the third week, we're just going to discuss the first task of the speaking section. In the fourth week, we're going to discuss the second and the third task of the speaking section. And in the 5th week, we're going to discuss the 4th task of the speaking section, and we're going to combine that with the writing section task number 1. And in the last week, we're going to discuss the writing 1 and writing 2, okay? This is, let's say, the schedule or the planification we have for our classes from now on, okay? So please take a picture to this if you want, write it on your agenda, because this is going to be our schedule. Now, as you can see, you're going to have preparation for every single topic, okay? There's no need for you to worry about that, and that is going to be what you're going to be experiencing. All right, great. Fantastic. Let us continue. Okay, that is the calendar. And last thing, a benefit, okay, for having chosen us, that is to say executive English, is that you're going to have this very, very, very advantageous benefit for you. The speaking sessions are something that we just have here at Executive English. What are these speaking sessions? These speaking sessions are video calls that you can reserve through our website, in which we're going to be just 2 persons, that is to say, each of you and me. These are personalized speaking sessions, apart from the courses we have here that are in group, of course, and every single time at 8 p.m. Bolivian time, right? Apart from these normal courses we will have, you're going to have the chance to reserve these speaking sessions that are 12 15-minute calls with me, okay? These are, as I say, one-to-one calls, video calls. You're going to have the opportunity to practice for 15 minutes for the speaking section just with me. And by doing this, you're going to be receiving extra preparation for the most difficult of all the different sections, that is the speaking one, of course. So as I said, I'm going to send a document right after we finish these classes of how to register and reserve, as I say, these speaking sessions. The process is very simple. It's just through our website, and it's free, by the way. It's not something you have to pay for, I don't know, an extra. No, it's just, as I say, part of what you have received for having chosen us, okay? So as you can see, these are the speaking sessions, and as I say, these are one-to-one video calls in which I'm going to be just with one of you individually, and you have to reserve these speaking sessions on the available times, right? When you get into the website, you're going to discover that there are some available times where you can reserve this, and you have up to 12. That is to say, you can reserve, excuse me, a maximum of 12 different 15-minute calls with me. After that, you have more chance to reserve, but you can reserve whenever you want. You don't have to, let's say, reserve everything on just 1 week. No, depending on your own availability and the availability of the website, you can reserve these 12 15-minute calls with me. Okay, fantastic. I'm gonna send, as I say, all the information to the WhatsApp group. All right, well, and that's it. Is there any question, dear students, with regard to anything we have discussed until this point? Please tell me. Questions? Roy, Mariana, Araceli?
I have a question.
Please, Araceli.
So when you get your score in the exam, you are going to know the score of each section?
Yes, certainly. You're gonna know the score of each section individually and also the overall score. Like, for example, if you get in the reading 25, in the listening 25, in the speaking 25, but let's say in the writing you got 0, well, at the end you will have just 75, right? But nonetheless, you are going to be able to know these scores individually, and also the institution you send them is going to be able to know them individually and also overall.
Okay, thank you.
All right, my pleasure. Any other question? Your students, as Araceli, Cecilia, Abigail, Mariana, Roy, questions? Any other question, concern, doubts? No questions? All right, great. No questions then, I guess. So tomorrow we're going to start, okay, you know, at 8 p.m. And please don't go. I need to take your assistance before you go. Okay, every single time we'll finalize our courses or our classes, I'm gonna take your assistance. So, okay, so please don't go until you say present, because as you know, when you finalize these classes, apart from having the preparation, you will get a certificate for these classes, I mean, right? And that is, let's say, certified, or that is recognized by an American university, right? So please, in order to get that certificate, you need to be present in class, of course. How can I know that? By saying present at the end. Okay, so please, you always have to remain with me until you say present. All right, and last thing, every single time, okay, dear students, at the end of these classes, I will deliver a poll. Okay, you know what is a poll, right? It's a votation, basically. So this poll I'm gonna be delivering, as I say, at the end of each class. And it's an anonymous poll. I cannot know who responds what, who says this, who says that. And it's a poll about the class, what you thought about the class, if you think, for example, it was well prepared, if I was able to respond to your questions, if you managed to understand me. This is a poll about the class, okay? And of course, I appreciate your responses, your kind responses to the poll, okay? You help me a lot with it, okay? So every single time we finalize our courses, I'm gonna deliver this poll, and we are gonna start today, okay? So please help me with that as I take the assistance. Look at your screen and please respond to this poll, okay? I appreciate your kind responses. Fantastic. Thank you very much, your students. You help me a lot, okay? So I'm gonna take your assistance, so please listen to your names. Here we are. Okay, let's go. So is here present our dear Abigail Graciela? Yes, you're Abigail, present, right? I got you, don't worry.
Present. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. No, it's okay. Thank you, Abigail. Thank you very much. Roy Brian David.
Present.
Thank you very much, Roy. What about Araceli Patiño?
Present.
Thank you very much, Araceli. What about Samuel Oscar? I think he is the only one who's lacking here. Mariana Vaca.
Present.
Thank you very much, Mariana. And finally, we have Cecilia Maria.
Present.
There you are. Great. Well, awesome. Thank you very much. Okay, dear students, for your responses. Awesome. So there you are. Tomorrow we're going to start, okay, with the classes. So please, punctual at 8 p.m. You're going to be united with another group, by the way, another group that has already started classes some weeks ago. But it doesn't matter because, I mean, you are going to receive preparation for each part, right? I mean, as I say, they are receiving the same preparation than you. They don't know anything apart from you. You'll always know exactly the same, okay? So as I say, you're going to be united with another group. I am the teacher anyway, so it's just the same. And we're going to start with the reading section, okay? As I mentioned, it's going to be a complete new class, so don't worry. You're not going to be able to know anything prior to that or previous to that. It's going to be totally new for you and for the students who are going to be accompanying you tomorrow as well. That is to say, the other group you're going to be joining, okay? So please, I see you tomorrow. I'm very much excited. And thank you very much for having accompanied me tonight, okay? Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye-bye. See you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Professor. Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.